As you can see earlier that the decision tree has a like it's a base part, the base decision where the decisions make the decisions among alternatives. There is a yes, there is a no, and then the next you're going to do or to see in deciding whether to pursue a specific event or course of action. So these are the components of a decision tree. First is what we call the decision node. This is usually represented by a square, though at times these conventions are not really followed. So when we say decision node, this is the point where decision maker chooses among alternatives. There are alternatives, and then the decision maker is going to choose which of those alternatives is he going to do. For example, build or not build, replace or repair, bid or do not bid. Those are these decision nodes. Like for example, in let's say when you in the previous slides we have the going to vacation, and then where are you going to do? Go to Europe, visit a family, and or go to camping site. Next is what we call the chance node. Generally represented by a circle, and it indicates uncertain events with known or estimated probabilities. So here we apply the probabilities. If you remember the earlier example about a contractor winning and losing a bid or a project bid, and if the contractor will win, right? Let's say if the contractor will win, there are possible outcomes. Favorable site conditions, let's say the normal or the typical or moderate site conditions, and we have also poor, right? Poor site conditions. Poor site conditions. Okay. Okay. In the chance node, we have this uncertain events, and we have also their probabilities. For example, favorable site condition that we have a 20% probability, normal site condition at let's say 60% probability, and poor site conditions at 20% probability. These are chance nodes. It indicates uncertain events with known or estimated probabilities. Next is what we call the branches. The branches are connecting the nodes and represents alternatives, possible outcomes, and associated probabilities and monetary values. The line that connects the nodes, we call that our branches. And fourth, we have our terminal or end nodes. This is the final outcome. It shows the final outcome of the whatever is presented there. And lastly, we have what we call our rollback value. Or let's say we call this our present word. That is just we call it rollback because if there is a future value, then we take its present value. That's why it's called a rollback value. Okay, so we have an example here. We have a decision node. We have our chance nodes, and then the end nodes. So there's let's say there's a situation and there are possible solution. And then each of these will also give us possible solutions. And then each of these possible solution will yield a final outcome. For instance, this one, desire to increase sales and profit. So you might want to expand your advertising, or you want to expand your sales activities. If you expand advertising, you might reach out an advertising company. So you might go for a new advertising agency or continue with your current one. If you go with a new one, now the uncertainty is the budget. Since this is a new advertising agency, you are not yet quite sure with the budget. And then If you have the plus 10% budget, there might be a positive 6% increase in sale and 2% increase in profit. If 5% of the budget, then you might have 4% increase in sale and 1.5% increase in profit. And if you continue with your current advertising agency and you increase the budget for that agency with 10%, you might have a possible outcome increase 5% in sales and 1.5% in profit. Or when you increase 5% of budget with your current advertising agency, you might have a 4% increase in sales and 12% increase in profit. Or I think this is 1.2. Yeah, this is 12%. So on and so forth. So this is a decision tree, and you're going to decide your action based on this. And you can see that this is sequential. Okay, next. This one. Purchase. We have a apartment building, an office building, and a warehouse. Next is, if we purchase an apartment building, there are two possible consequences. Good economic conditions, 60% probability. Poor economic conditions, 40% probability. And if the apartment building is in good, current economic conditions is good, then you might earn $50,000. If poor, you might earn $30,000. Or if you choose to purchase an office building when the economic conditions are good, this is actually 60% probability and 40% for the poor, you might earn $100,000 for that. However, if economic conditions are poor, you will actually have a loss of $40,000, negative $40,000. Now, if you choose a warehouse, when there is a 60% chance that the economic conditions are good and 40% chance that the economic conditions are poor. And with that, if the economic conditions are good, you might earn 30,000, or if the economic conditions is poor. So this is a decision tree. You read from left to right and you evaluate it from right to left. So as you can see here that there is already a probability, right? And there is their possible outcomes. And it is in here that you are going to apply your expected monetary value. But we're going to show that later in our discussion for the rollback analysis. But this is just to show you first that a decision tree has the decisions, there are the chances, there are probabilities, and there are possible outcomes. Earnings. So in this part here is we have our earnings, or it might show cost, and others. So how do we construct the decision tree? Alright. First is you define the engineering decision. For example, determine whether the contractor should submit the bridge project bid based on expected present worth at a 10% mark. And you identify possible alternatives. Submit the bid, do not submit the bid. And that the alternatives must be mutually exclusive. So let's say you submit the bid and then you do not submit, right? Okay. If you submit, next is identify uncertain outcomes. So if you do not submit, actually nothing happens. You will have no profit. And if you submit, um, the outcome might be you win, the bid is accepted, or rejected. So if it's rejected, then you have no earnings. If it's accepted, like this one as shown here, what could be the possible side conditions? Right? Is it favorable? Is it average? Or poor? So on and so forth. And then you should arrange the events chronologically. They should be arranged. Why? Because we are dealing with sequential decisions, right? Submit, do not submit, and what will happen if you do not submit? Then you will have no profit. And if you submit the bid, what will happen? Your bid might be accepted or rejected. If your bid might be rejected, what will happen? This is the events. This should be chronological. You cannot put the accept or reject first and then whether you submit or not the bid. And the next is you assign probabilities based on historical data, engineering records, and other. So after determining, let's say this one, we have our accept or reject, right? Favorable or average poor. And you assign your probabilities. Let's say the favorable side conditions is at 20%, average is at 60, and poor side conditions is at 20%, something like that. And the probability should be based on study, site investigations, reliability studies, historical project data. Then afterwards, you estimate monetary consequences. Like in the EMV discussion, right? We have, let's say, if the outcome is favorable, then normal and poor, and then let's say you have a 20%, you have a 20% favorable, 60% and 20% favorable, we assign economic outcomes. Let's say if the side conditions are favorable, you might have a profit of 20 million. If in normal conditions, you will have a profit of 12 million, and if poor conditions, you might have a profit of, let's say, 3 million, something like that. You estimate cash flows in each possible outcomes. And you should include all economic consequences. What are we going to include? Initial cost, the study or investigation cost, annual benefits, operating and O&M cost, the repair cost, replacement cost, salvage value, taxes, and others. So if next is if there are future monetary values, you are going to discount future monetary values. That is when we say discount, you are going to get the present value of your project, or let's say what is being shown there, you get the um, present value. And the next is you perform rollback analysis. This is the computing the expected monetary value, and then you work backwards. So you get the present worth for each complete path, and then after getting the present worth of each complete path, you again compute the expected values at chance nodes, and then you select your preferred alternative. So if you have several nodes, you're going to evaluate them. So for example, rollback analysis is we have our chances here, right? You get the expected value, monetary values there, and there and there, and afterwards you get the expected monetary value for that, the present worth for that. And how about for this one? So on and so forth. You get the present value of that. And then you decide or select the preferred alternative at each decision node. And then you interpret the result. The alternative with the best expected economic value is preferred under a risk-neutral decision rule. So, let's say we might have a result. The recommendation must still consider probability of loss. Because there are instances that we might have higher earnings for, let's say, for this decision, if we're going to do this, but the probability of loss might be negative. For let's go back to a previous slide, like this one. Um, in the office building, we have you might have a probability to earn 100,000 pesos. Sorry, $100,000. But if the site conditions is economic conditions is poor, you will actually you will have a loss of $40,000. The EMV here is $44,000. And for the other one, let's just so just we can have something to compare. Right? For this one, you have an EMV of 42,000. So initially here, you might choose the office building because the EMV is actually the highest, right? At $44,000. But again, you are going to see the probability of loss. When you choose the apartment building, you will have no loss, but you will have a low income. If you will choose the office building, you can have higher income, but again, the probability of loss, we have a negative here. We are losing $40,000 for this one, right? If we choose this one, and so on. So that's what we are going to keep in mind that when you interpret the result, actually you choose the best expected economic value. But you should also consider other things like probability of loss and then financial capacity. Let's say the initial cost of doing such move, though it will gain higher possible outcome, higher profit, it might be quite expensive, right? So because of that, we might not be able to continue or pursue with that course of action. Other S is contractual constraints, environmental consequences, data quality, and consequences of extreme outcomes. These are the basic decision tree construction. Next is you're going to discuss the discounted decision tree analysis. So this is just an application of your previous knowledge. What does discounting mean? How do we discount a decision tree? Actually, I've already mentioned this in the rollback analysis. In the seventh, actually, it is already shown here in the 7 and 8. 7 is discounting future monetary values and performing rollback analysis. So in the discounted decision tree, you're just going to apply discounting. But this will be discussed in the next video.